Hi everyone, Linda from Let's Talk Prepping. I'm going to bring you some headlines today, but we know all about what's happening in Ukraine and Biden saying we're closer to nuclear Armageddon than ever, and the U.S. buying the medication for radiation sickness and the blood sickness if we're in a nuclear war. So what I thought I'd do is talk about food prices, and then what John Deere is doing, who they're partnering with. And this is like out of the Twilight Zone. For those who are too young, Twilight Zone was a great TV series. It's still on in black and white, when I was a kid. And so wait till you see what they're doing. Just amazing what's going on. And we know we're on the brink of nuclear Armageddon. So let's go look at some of these other things. First of all, this is from the Wine Press. Never heard of that, the Wine Press. winepressnews.com. Butter is forecast to be in short supply this winter as FDA recalls Brie and Camembert cheese over listeria outbreak. But they think that butter's going to be in short supply, and they give you 5 reasons here. Periods of extreme heat cause the cows to produce less milk. Cow feed is growing more expensive. The price of corn has risen. The West is dealing with reduced production schedules. Midwest is having trouble with maintaining cream supplies for butter making. The Northeast demand for butter is inching up. Don't know why that's true. But you do know you can freeze butter. So if you think there's going to be a butter shortage in the near future, just go and freeze a little bit about it. And here's some good news. This is from AFN. This is Ag Funder News. Ag, F-U-N-D-E-R, news.com. agfundernews.com. Meat giant JBS shutters its U.S. plant-based meat division. So it's one of the largest meat companies, and it's pulling the plug on the U.S.-based alternative protein division, Plantura. So that's good news because I'm sure it was full of all kinds of crappy stuff, the same as the other plant-based meats. And it was double-digit growth in 2020, then a flattening of sales in 2021, and now their sales are on the decline. And Beyond Meat, Maple Leaf Foods, and Congra-owned Guardian are among the alternative protein companies seeing declines in 2022. It says the portion of the U.S. population open to trying and repeat buying may already have reached a saturation point. And consumers are questioning the benefits of plant-based meat alternatives, especially those around health. And I did do one of my other videos. I talked about what was in one of the plant-based burgers. So we have this good news. They're shuttering the plant. And we have here, just to quickly switch from food to electric vehicles, the electric vehicle charging now nearly as expensive as filling up a car with gasoline. So I thought that was interesting. So the new data from, this is in the United Kingdom, shows that the electric vehicle charging is almost as expensive as filling up with gasoline. So what would be the point of paying that extra money to get an electric vehicle, especially if the grid's going to go down? And here's another one on electric vehicles. This is from Fox News. Electric vehicles are exploding from water damage after Hurricane Ian, top Florida officials warn. And there are a ton of EVs disabled. And a top Florida official warned Thursday that firefighters have battled a number of fires caused by the electric vehicle batteries that were waterlogged. And down here they have a video you could watch. A ton of EVs disabled from Ian, and the batteries corrode and the fires start. A bystander is overheard in the video saying that the crew had used hundreds of gallons of water attempting to put out the fire. So that's the other problem, that once you have a fire in one of these electric vehicles, they really are having trouble putting them out. So now let's go back to food. And this is from All News Pipeline, allnewspipeline.com. Surviving the coming crisis, countering food inflation requires us learning what our ancestors knew in order to survive what is on the horizon. So we need to go back and try to figure out how they survived the Depression, World War II, what they did. Winter gardening, milling flour, baking from scratch, breads, cakes and pastries, rolls, biscuits, pasta, noodles, are all remembrances of mothers and grandmothers laboring away in the kitchen. So throughout the years, technological advancements have created a generation that depends more on grocery store for things our ancestors used to produce right from home from scratch. And of course, they didn't use preservatives back then. And it says, then disaster hits, and within 2 years, prices have become unsustainably high, forcing families to change their eating habits, cut the amount of meals, or cut the portions, or both. And it says, state leaders that created a mess in the supply chain crisis that affected everything from food to electronics. But we also know that they've been sabotaging farms and food and fertilizer and all the plants, food plants that have gone up in smoke and fire and the bird flu and everything else. But here are all the prices. I thought we would look at this. All one has to do is look at the price for everyday items are now compared to what they were 2 years ago. Compare the size of containers your foods or drinks are in and see they're smaller, yet they cost the same or more. And we really have to learn how to survive without being forced to continue paying the constantly rising prices for fruits, vegetables, and baked items. And the numbers here below are the price spikes from August 2021 to August 2022, representing just 1 year. So this is a shortened list. There's a longer list at the link below. So we have flour and prepared flour mixes have gone up 23%. That's in a year. Breakfast cereal, 16.4%. Rice, bread, fresh biscuits, rolls, and muffins, 17.1%. Cakes and cupcakes. Apples, 3.8%. Bananas, 8.3%. Oranges, 14.4%. Potatoes, 15.2%. Lettuce, 10.7%. Canned fruit, 16.6%. Canned vegetables, 16.1%. Frozen fruits and vegetables, 11.4%. And this is just, even though I write about this issue as it continues to worsen, seeing those numbers, knowing it's just 1 year increase, not counting the massive increases for the year before, I am still astounded at those percentages. So that's just the percentages for 1 year, and I think they're even higher. Probably if you looked for meat, they would be higher. So you need to go back to basics and try to figure out how to grow your own food and get things from scratch. Now, what I also promised you here, and this is John Deere. This is at Ag Funder Network Partners, and it's agfundernews.com, agfundernews.com. And it's September 29th, so it's about a week or two ago. Deere's investment in inner plant is about changing big ag. More corporates need to follow suit. So what they did is they just invested in this place called Inner Plant. And it's an entirely new way of doing crop protection and ultimately commodity farming. And this is where it comes down to almost like Twilight Zone. Inner Plant recodes plant DNA to make those plants' natural distress signals visible to the human eye. when viewed through field equipment or satellite imagery. So I guess it's not really visible to the human eye if you have to have field equipment or satellite imagery. In the event of pests, fungi, lack of water, or some other danger, the recoded, get that word now, plant's fluorescent protein lights up in the leaves to signal that distress to farmers. So this fluorescent protein, does that mean they put the fluorescent there by recoding it, or is fluorescent there naturally? I don't know. It'll help farmers reduce losses due to pathogens and increase yields by identifying early on what the stressors are. Deere, meanwhile, is something of a trailblazer when it comes to ag corporates adopting new technology. It launched See & Spray, ultimate precision ag tool this year. Using cameras and machine learning, the See & Spray system precisely targets weeds with herbicides, which are not good for you, for corn, soybean, and cotton crops. Deere also unveiled a fully autonomous tractor in 2022. Now, the idea is to eventually merge Interplant's living plant sensors with Deere's machinery. So this is sort of Twilight Zone-ish. They're somehow recoded the DNA in these plants. They are going to be lighting up fluorescent when you look at them through special equipment or through the satellite, and then they're going to merge them with the Deere's machinery, the tractors and such. When the plants are going to communicate that they are under fungal pressure or insect pressure, nitrogen deficiency for corn, then the tractors can go out to the field and take action. The action will eventually be plant by plant. So this is the marriage of two different technologies. Ultimately will provide the most value to the farmer's customers. I'm not sure I want recoded plants because eventually you're going to be eating them. How did they recode them? What is it all about? And what's next for Interplant? Interplant has a very clear roadmap of what it wants to accomplish. The company plans to have living plant sensor varieties of soy that are sensitive to fungus exposure available next year. There are also plans to launch a satellite that can identify and talk to Interplant's crop varieties. How are they going to talk to it? Hey, you've got a fungal infection there, plant, do something about it. The company is currently working on a deal with a still undisclosed partner. So there's a three-pronged approach. The plants are creating the signals, satellites collecting the signals, and the tractors go out in the field based on what they know and take better action on the plant level. We won't even need farmers anymore, just send the tractors out. John Deere and Interplant envision a future that enables plants to communicate stress directly to John Deere machines and technology, ultimately allowing machines to make agronomic management decisions at the plant level much sooner than what's possible today. So they're going to make the decisions at the plant level. And it's going to match the applications of nutrients and pesticides to the individual plant. So they're not eliminating pesticides. You can be sure they can add more because you're just doing it for one or two plants. So that is amazing. Not anything I want, but it is amazing. So I don't know how they recode the plants, what they're doing, how they change the genes, the DNA or whatever, so that the plants will show up with fluorescent lighting. I don't know that it would be something that I want to eat, but that's what's coming. I thought you should know that because all of these things are coming our way, whether we like it or not. It's time then to get to know your local farmers. It's time to start growing your own food and taking your own food into your hands so that you control what you're eating. So please leave us a comment below And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thanks for watching.